Mr. James, welcome back. 24th episode. It feels like we've been going for ages, but we actually haven't been.
Do you have some excitement leading this in?
Was that a bit
was
pessimistic?
It was very bland.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm actually excited.
Good. Welcome back, everyone, to the Late Afternoon Glass Off.
Hello.
My name's Finn. This is Zach. We come to you off a weekend at Lee Bar Board Riders where me and Zach were both in the final and Zach beat me, if you're paying attention to the Instagram. So well done, Zach. How do you feel after your big Lee Bar win?
The air's pretty thin up here, Finley. I can see lots up here on Cloud 9.
Lofty heights.
Huge win over the weekend. I haven't won anything since Rusty Gromfest 2014.
Was that your last win?
That's my last win.
Really?
Yeah, I wish it was something WSL related, but to be honest, it wasn't. And back then, I'm pretty sure it was the beach start.
Really?
Yeah. And it was like 100 foot, and I think I only won because I was the only one who got out the back.
Mate, you just paddle fit, just Ironman sort of status, hey?
But there's one claim to fame in that final.
Who'd you beat?
Ethan.
There you go.
Yeah, he beat me at the Oki Gromcom the week before.
Mm-hmm.
I got second, he got first.
Mm-hmm.
And then he come down to my zone, and I got the dub on him, and he got second. So we're actually equal.
Is that the only two times you've versed
him?
We're
definitely not equal.
So for everyone listening, Zach is 1-1 with Ethan. So Ethan, if you want to do
1-1, no, my friend.
In finals?
In my mind, I would love it to be 1-1.
Right, so he smoked you.
Realistically, it's about 37-2.
Okay, sorry. No, don't ignore what I just said there. We're not going to do a surf off.
We can cut out the 37-2 part and leave the other part in. It sounds much nicer off the top.
But you have beaten Ethan.
Yep.
In a final.
The most recent one was Port Kembla WSL quarterfinal Subway Pro Junior.
Right. And how'd you go?
No, I lost immediately after that.
Right.
Harley Ross beat me.
Okay.
But that was the last one. And then he literally went on to destroy the world.
I've said this before on the podcast, I think in an earlier episode. I was in his round one heat at the beginning of that run that he went on. So that year when he just pretty much beat the world, and I think he won the World Juniors that year. Mm-hmm. I was in his round one heat.
What did you whisper in his ear?
This is what I said last time, and I stand by. I pretty well just gave him a walkthrough, just all the confidence he needed to get into round two. Just went, who is this kid that I've got? Wiped the floor with me, and then continued to beat the rest of the world. So
yeah, you are one of the nicest people I've ever met, and I can just see you like a set coming, and you have full right away. And you're like, you know what, Ethan, you go this way.
I would have had priority and just seen him and gone, yeah, no, you go, right, sweet. Seriously, I would have been wigging out having him in my heat. Not with you though. If I ever had you in a heat, I'd be going after you. But
I think we had a point in that final on the weekend, and it was like, there was like a set coming, and I knew it was yours or something. I was like, fuck, what do I do here? Do I get a bit narky and go after him? But
I'd fully you probably didn't realise this. I stopped talking to you at the end because I was angry.
I was well aware.
I was like, I need to find a wave, and I couldn't get one. And anyway,
to be honest, I didn't think I was winning, so I was kind of in the same boat. So when you stopped talking to me, I was like, oh.
Yeah, well, I knew I wasn't winning, so put it that way. But we'll leave that there. Zach on Lee Bar. We might keep a tally on this. How many times when we meet in the final, you're 1-0.
I'm never there though.
You're literally the vice president.
I know, but I'm always here, there, everywhere doing something, and it always happens to be on the weekend that I'm not.
Okay, well, when you're there and we're in finals, we'll keep a tally. So you're currently 1-0. Anyway, for those listening, the Instagram, everything's been popping. So thanks so much to everyone who's already followed us on Spotify and subscribed to us on YouTube and all that. Thank you so much. It's been amazing the last couple of weeks, especially in the wake of Connor's episode, which if you haven't listened to it yet, check it out because it's sick.
Yeah, a lot of good feedback on that one, which is nice.
We had a really sick in terms of we just had a hell time chatting to him.
Yeah.
So
it didn't feel any part nerve-wracking.
No.
It just felt free and honest.
For sure. Well, there's times I just fully forgot we were recording, and you're just like, oh, actually, no, we are doing a podcast here. But like, it's kind of like, yeah, it was just felt like a chat, which was sick. So that was really good. Like Zach said, had some really positive feedback on that. So if you haven't already, check it out. Obviously, like and follow and do whatever on Instagram, TikTok, at the Largo Podcast. And if you've been listening, you'd know that we're doing a bit of a giveaway.
We are.
We haven't compiled all of the items yet, but we have made a bit of a start here. So currently,
to prove that it's real, we are slow, but we're getting onto it. We've
got a set of Captain Finco fins, and we've got a Geordie Smith, current world number 1, by the way, deck grip. So that's the first two. There will be. This is just the tip of the iceberg, as they say. There'll be.
Well, that's already like $300, right?
It'd be approaching that for
I
sure.
think twin fins now like 150, 180.
Yeah.
And deck grip. I missed the surf shop. Sorry. What's a deck grip go for these days?
They'd be $60, $70 for sure.
I remember getting a yellow set of honeycomb PC3s from the surf shop.
Yeah.
And they were like $40.
Crazy.
What happened?
I don't know. But everything's just, even block of wax now. Like
it's a rich person sport.
It is. Foo wax, $10 a block. That's
and it's the same compound, everything.
That's just, $10 a block. It's what it is. So, I don't know. Surfing is expanding, and with that, it is getting more expensive. Inflation is not helping. But yeah, that's the start of the gift pack, we'll call it.
Yep.
We're going to be doing a random draw. So
Correct.
anyone,
we're going to throw it into a chat GTP pool thingy bingo thing.
Yeah.
You have to be an Australian resident because we are not sending it overseas. Could not be bothered.
We're not made of money. We can't afford for overseas.
Yeah, it's expensive.
It's not cheap.
DHL is very expensive. It can't be one of those robot accounts or like a sex bot account thing. That we've probably got a couple.
Yeah, there's a few.
I bet you we're going to do this on live. We should do it on live, and it will come up with Candace something from USA, and it's not even a real person.
Right.
And it says, follow my content, 18 plus content. I bet you that happens.
You click the link to the OnlyFans site, and suddenly your bank account's drained and everything, your house has been sold.
We'll get one of those. So you just can't be on OnlyFans promoting your OnlyFans. And you have to be Australian.
You can win if you're on OnlyFans, but you have to be a real person.
I don't even want them to win. I'm keeping that in the terms and conditions. If you're on OnlyFans, you're still not getting it because you're probably getting enough money elsewhere.
Fair.
Aussie, got to be real, can't be fake, and that's about it.
Sure. Beautiful.
We'll leave it at that.
That's the current terms and conditions. If you think of anything else, we'll leave it. But it's pretty wide open. I think probably 90% of our following is Australian anyway. So it's not. I don't think it's gonna be too big an issue.
And there's a few burner accounts that follow us. We know there's burners out there that just ruin people's lives. They can't win.
We're aware of who runs them, and if your account wins, not only will you not win the prizes, but we will expose who you are on the on the podcast. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be in the next week or so. We just got to get the rest of the prizes, but they're on their way.
The last thing we want to do is say, hey, you won nothing. It's coming in the mail. So we're just compiling and stockpiling our stuff. So bear in mind we're coming, but it was a bit slow. Yeah,
for sure. Anyway, we'll move now on to... we are in the wake of the first Challenger Series event. That one just finished off in Newcastle. And we have our Surfer of the Week, who is someone that I sort of, and not even I, both of us picked as a standout performer from the event. Who is it?
Our boy, Xavier Huxtable. We kind of foresee this? No.
Foresaw?
Foresaw. Mm-hmm. Is that a word?
It is, yep.
Okay, we foresaw. That's a nice word.
Predicted
this one to come to fruition, and it kind of did. He got 9th, correct? I think it was a 9th.
Yeah.
Zave just went into another gear. He just looks like an adult. It's funny when you grow up with someone and you're in and around and they're just that freckly fart from Kmart at the event, and then all of a sudden they just come out and they're an adult.
Yeah.
That was some of the most polished surfing I've seen from Zave, and he'll probably agree, and it's tour ready.
He's ready to go.
When you see someone put 100% into a turn and it doesn't look like it's got skips and bobbles, that's really tough to do. And when he went out on that, it's when they went from the Chicks. He was in the first heat against David's. No, it wasn't.
It was 4-man heat, but he kind of pioneered the
outside bank
beat. Yeah, bank.
I just remember watching the Chicks on the Grovelly Shorey. It was pretty hard to watch. They were getting smoked on the rocks there, and then the next heat was his.
Yeah.
And the first, like, they come back from ad break. The
Yeah.
first thing you can see is him getting so tubed,
It's 8-5.
and then coming out and going bloody bananas.
Yeah.
And that's why he's surfer of the week. And yeah, he just looks really polished. He looks like he's putting 100% into his surfing. And yeah, I don't know, what else he could have done
For sure. No,
in that heat.
A very, very good showing from Xavier throughout that event. He actually got fifth, Zach, so we've gypped him a result there. But very, very impressive. Had a close one against one Joshua Kerr on a 20, which he managed to get himself through in the end, which I think was warranted. I think he deserved to progress through that heat. He was the better surfer, and I think the 20 of Josh Kerr probably wouldn't have got him as far as it did had it not been tubing. I think the barrels really helped, and he nearly stole it off Zave in that heat with a barrel. But yeah, no, Zave, surfer of the week, couldn't agree more. He absolutely slapped it. And Jack Bain won on our Instagram, sent us or responded to our story today and said, yeah, he reckons he's tour ready too. So it's not just us.
Good on you, Zave.
Yeah,
Keep it going, mate.
for sure. First Challenger Series said and done. Jacob Wilcox beats Carly Vass in the final.
Oh, that's so good. I love seeing Chippo on top.
Yep.
He's just the definition of true fucking Aussie grit.
Yeah.
He's been cut down so many times, and this is his first Challenger win. He deserves it.
He does. He really does. It's look, we won't say he's going to definitely qualify because there's a lot of events to still come.
Well, we've been here before with Mikey
Yeah.
and Geordie Lawler last year. They both won one of the CSs each, and neither qualified.
Neither cracked it. So like, there's lots more work for Jacob to do, but obviously you can't start any better. Carly Vass, really good showing from him too. He'd be very wrapped with that. I don't think this is necessarily an event he maybe picked himself to go super well in, but his backhand was really impressive the entire event. Got to the final. That's going to set him up really well. And I think these are two surfers, both Jacob and Callie, that belong on the world tour. And I think once they get on, I think there'll be guys that stay there because their surfing is really aligned to the venues that they have on the tour. Ladies, we've got Francisca Vaselko beating Sally Fitzgibbons, who just does not die, does she?
What's going on?
She refuses to lay down, and she
lays down on tour.
Yeah, well, yeah. I
She's
guess
sleeping while on tour and then wakes up on the Challenger Series.
she's too good for the Changa. And she's like, she's just not good enough for the tour, it seems like, at this stage in her career. Anyway, obviously, very decorated career. She's getting older now. She's been doing it for a long time. Has the record for the most 40-odd quarterfinal finishes in a row, which was insane.
I think they were saying she's the most... she's won the most surf fests or something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. She seems to win.
I feel like that's what they were saying, but I could be completely off. I'm not on her bandwagon. I just can't support the surfing.
No.
It feels junior. It feels very... It's just not punching through that ceiling. It's not in that explosive
For sure.
wave that we're seeing. It's kind of... I'm just going to stop there because
No,
there's nothing constructive out of it, and I don't want to just say that's shit surfing, whatever, and not provide any worthwhile feedback. But that one for me, Sal, it's just I don't know. I don't think it's the caliber of World Tour, if you ask me.
No, look, I think she's probably proven that too, just given her an ability to stay up there. She's obviously a very, very good surfer. She's been doing this for a long time, and she's at the stage in her career now where I feel like a lot of people now, you and me included, probably expecting her to wrap it up pretty soon.
I don't think she's a very good surfer. I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
And the reason I say that, if you watch the replays, there's parts where she like a big section coming and she'll go up like early and come down early.
Yeah.
Fear of belting it.
Yeah, and I think also as well, there's nothing to her. So she doesn't have much to throw around too. Like she's kind of... I mean, there is small people on tour that still can throw
Aaron
water.
Brooks, Tears of Brows.
For sure. Yeah, no, okay. That's fair. But yeah, I think Sal's just... She's been someone that's benefited a lot from the old wave. Mm-hmm. So she had her stint on tour where she pretty much, given her quick and sort of flashy surfing that she had compared to some of the other girls, it'd get her through a lot of heats. Whereas now as everyone else has progressed around her, she sort of hasn't, and she's probably getting left behind. But by the looks of Zach, she's going to probably re-qualify again.
Oh, that's pretty huge to say on one.
I'm not like...
Stop one.
It's not, though. I don't think it is, dude, because, look, if you think about it, she's had one event to go, okay, I've fallen off again. Let's reset, do this again. And she's made the final. So...
You know what this feels like, though? You can't... Like, Samuel Pupo is in the same boat. He made it.
Yeah.
And he got knocked off.
Yeah.
And he's doing okay so far. But when Sammy gets knocked off, it's like, oh my God, he needs to get back. I feel he's well and truly good enough to get back there. When Sal got knocked off, I was like, that's the universe leveling out.
Yeah, definitely.
And now she's going to go back again. It's like, I'm kind of bamboozled. I think it comes down to she is incredibly good at putting a heat strategy together.
100%.
She knows exactly what's going on.
So smart.
And I think she's coming up against crew that are just learning that.
Yeah.
So you've got 20 years experience plus or versus someone who's junior. Like, you look at the Challenger Series on the women's, it's like the median age is like 17.
Yeah, for sure.
They've surfed probably less than 50 heats in their life.
She is probably the biggest proponent of example of hard work beats talent.
Yep.
That is her.
I do admire that.
Yeah. Hard work beats talent. When
surfing aside, I really admire that.
Yeah, for sure. And she seems to be the living, breathing example of that, which good on her. I agree with you that I don't think she's probably I don't know. I don't think she necessarily has to be on tour. Like, I don't think that's where her surfing is anymore. It was time period specific.
Yeah. You nailed it.
Definitely.
She had that zappy, electric, fast, style when it perhaps wasn't, around as
much. Yeah.
Prominently. God, all over the place. Not. Whereas now it's not cutting the mustard. No. That's the new standard, in my opinion.
Definitely.
You're looking at Katie Simmers, super fast. You're looking at
Aaron Brooks, Gabby Bryan, really powerful. Like, it's
getting watered down now.
Yeah, it's
It's not that gemstone that she used to be. It's just they're all gems now, and I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway,
because it's a good point as well. Because I had this chat with Jetty Smith today out at Norfolk. We were surfing, and we kind of were like musing about the Challenger Series. Is it necessarily the best qualifier for surfers who are going to then have a career on the championship tour? Because you're basically the selection process is catering more towards people who are good in average waves, which tends to be your surfers like your Sal, like your David Silvers of the world, your Ian Gervais, those sorts of guys that, don't get me wrong, you get them on a 6 to 8 foot wall at J-Bay, they're going to rip the thing to pieces, but it doesn't really cater for, as it currently stands anyway, for these guys like your Robos and those guys. Obviously, they slip through the cracks because they're just elite. But like even like your Carly Vass or your Jacob Wilcox, who are looking good already, but they are guys that I believe belong on tour and they will stay there. But this selection criteria of these 6 or 7 events that they currently have, it's not basically a good indicator of who's going to perform well on tour.
100%.
If that makes sense. With Pipe now, I think that'll really help. I think that'll cut a few crew out that maybe pretenders, we'll call them. And you'll see sort of the cream rise to the top at those events. But I feel like you're using average waves to assess surfers who are then going to go and surf really good waves. And I don't think it's a correct way of measuring it. But anyway, that's just
I believed you. Past tense. I believed you.
Right.
Until Marco just did what he did.
Yeah, true. Fair.
Perfect tour is the Changers tour for him.
Yes.
I think it suits his style. We said in January this year, I ragged on him and said he's not going to make the cut.
Yeah.
Now he's well and truly above the cut.
Yeah.
He's almost in contention for Final 5.
Yeah.
So I give up. I don't know anymore. We'll move on.
Yeah. Look, our selections for the event, we'll just do a bit of accountability here.
Yep.
So, Jackson Baker, first round loss.
I didn't see that coming.
Unlucky. No, I didn't either. I think he put together a respectable heat total. He had 11 or 12 points, which probably will get you through a lot of round 1 heats on the Challenger. It didn't for him, unfortunately.
And no claim.
No claim.
Didn't claim one.
I don't think he had a. I don't think he was really in a position to claim one. If he got a buzzer,
No,
beater-
he'd climb a 6.
yeah, as in like it needs to be at the right time of the heat though. Like if it's the end of the heat and he gets a buzzer, he's throwing fists to the sky.
Yeah,
but
that's what I mean.
He just didn't really have that moment. Morgan Sibley, equal 9th, but I'm going to put a little asterisk there because he had an interference in that heat, and I think he would have been a nightmare to stop. But
Yep.
I think he would have gone much further in the event. Sorry. And then Sammy Pupo, also an average showing, like an equal 9th for him. It's a result. I think this will be one for him to build off. We both expect him to qualify quite easily this year. But yeah, I think in terms of our picks, they're not amazing, but I think we could have done a lot worse too. Like 2 9ths there, that's pretty good.
That's all right.
Yeah. So notable mentions from this event. Xavier Hucks, just touching him. Kid is ready. He's ready for the tour life. Get him on there. Pedersen Crisanto. I don't know what happened since I saw this man last. He looked like the guy to beat. Did you see any of his early heats?
Full little pocket rocket now.
Like multiple excellent range scores throughout the event.
I think he's put on weight.
Maybe. I don't know.
And it's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know what happened or where it's come from, but he looked outstanding.
Yeah,
So good on Pedersen. Matthias Hurdy. Now, we didn't include this guy in our sort of picks to make the top 10.
Yeah, and we probably should have because
But-
I personally love him.
I don't think it was that, though. I think we both assumed or were under the assumption that he'd given up. Like, we've heard from a couple of different accounts that he'd kind of thrown the towel in and wasn't really ready to continue to financially outlay to chase this dream that he's missed out on by one spot a number of times. But he's back and he comes out with an equal 9th, so that's a really good start for Matthias. And I think, we haven't got him in our top 10s because we didn't know, but I think I'd like to push him in there as like my 11th, and then he's like the sub. He's going to sub out for someone because I reckon he's going to crack it this year.
I like it. That makes sense.
And then Josh Kerr, who I've added in there, 9th on a 20, kind of sort of wrote him off before, but it's pretty impressive at the same time.
It is. Credit where credit due.
Yeah.
He's an older lad. He's on a 20, and he's kind of sending younger lads packing.
For sure. But a B's away from cracking the quarter. Xavier clutched up at the end of his heat, but Josh very nearly beat him. And then I've got just one girl from the event who we gave a rap to last week, but she just continued to do the damn thing, which was Tia Zabrowski, 14 or 15-year-old prodigy out of France. She is unbelievable, and she will be qualifying this year.
Yeah, she's one to watch. If you haven't heard that name, definitely Google it, get on Instagram, get around it, because it's going to be there for the foreseeable future. I think she's going to be on tour, in the next maybe a year or two.
I think do you reckon she'll do as Taj Burrow? She'll qualify and then go, I'm too young, and then go again and just clean up again?
Katie did that, right?
I think so, yeah.
Katie did that.
Could see another one of those. I think 14's probably a bit young for the tour. Do you agree?
Yep.
I think it is.
And I think the crew who do walk away, that is admirable, because a 14-year-old brain cannot, I'll put an asterisk in there, unless you've got a really good support crew.
Yeah.
A really good support crew that are truly looking out for your every decision.
Yeah.
And guiding you on that very tricky path.
You'd imagine she'd be traveling with parents or sponsors. You know what I mean? Like, there'd be people around her guiding her. But I think just 14, it's a lot. Like, especially, I mean, I guess it's not a bad thing, but to deal with, it's a lot of money for a 14-year-old. You're rocking up to these events and you're getting 15 grand US or whatever is just for showing up.
Yeah.
And given her talent, she'll be making heat. She'll be making more than that. So
it kind of smells of... what's her name? Erin Brooks.
Yeah.
I think she may have got to the big league a little too early, and now she's trying to find it out because she was smashing goals beforehand.
Yeah.
There is a different Erin Brooks on tour now.
Yeah.
It's not what was proposed prior to the tour.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening there.
So far, I think she's in for a big back half of the year. I think these waves start to really suit her, and I think this will be when she's she's made the cut. There's no pressure. I think she's just going to come out of her own and start putting up some big
I hope so.
Couple disappointments. So Cal Robbo, first off the block here, round of 64. Poor bloke could not buy a wave in his heat. Did you see this one?
I did not.
It was like watching a car crash in slow motion. Like, nothing to do with his surfing. It's just a real example of he was out of rhythm and there was nothing he could do to change that. He just I don't think he got over 4 points. His heat total, or like it was less than 5. Similar to Cal, Julian Wilson, same thing. Less than 5 point heat total, which I don't recall ever seeing from Julian at any stage.
I thought they were going to push him through still.
I
thought they were going to do it.
Right, yeah, okay. Well, speaking of pushing through, we'll get to something in a second, but tough heat for him too. Again, less than 5. You know, it's a meltdown. It's gonna be a bounce back. And at Wes Al Matthews on our Instagram saying the same. It's like I think there's a bounce back coming, and I think Jules will rebound pretty quickly. Bronson had a couple of listeners as well write in.
This one's a tricky one.
It's a tough one for Zach because obviously he's his manager, but or team manager, sorry, I should say. Now we had a bet on this heat. I had Bronny, Zach had Ryan. Hoping,
don't throw that at me.
Hoping that they'd both progress through the event.
I thought about this, and I wish I never even put myself in this precarious situation.
Now I've made a note here. Neither one, so I don't owe you any money. Yep. He got second. We have differing perspectives on this, and I can see both. So Bronny needed about an 8.8. Coming into sort of the final third or so of the heat, about 10 minutes or so to go. And he took off on a left, backside full rope, 3 nice clean turns after, 2 or 3 nice clean turns, and locked in an 8.67, so 0.13 under his requirement. I personally...
That's such a kick in the nuts.
It's very tough. Now, I personally thought the judges, given the day's surfing, I think they could have gone there. But you raised a good point before. What is it? What did you say to me earlier about...
Bronson, don't hate me. I think the score was correct.
Mm-hmm.
Although the backups were the scores here that were more... the backups, what I'm trying to say is the backups were the scores that really...
Cost him.
And I think that's... We went through the wave before, and we might throw it in here, but here's 4.5 was his backup. 8 point, what was it?
867 was his top
867 with a 4.5 backup. He obviously didn't know this because he got the 4.5 before the 8. So beautiful turn through a bunch of spray on the first. Come around, did a carve. They were both clean, combined together. So that was going to be a good score.
Yeah.
The wave goes a little bit shit. It splits in half, and he has to kind of hop over. And again, this is a hindsight thing, but there was opportunity for a mundane cutback.
Just a late slash.
Didn't have to be much.
Yeah.
But he kind of boggled and went on one foot, regathered, and then flicked off.
Mm-hmm.
That's the cost. That's the part of the heat where it cost him,
for sure,
in my opinion. One little slash there, it would have been a 0.5 more to the wave. It would have been a 5.33 or something like that.
Yep.
Ultimately would have got him the nod in the later parts of that heat.
Yeah, and
again, that is all just hindsight, and it's hard to break that down if you're a coach or something. But I think that's where it went wrong for Bronny.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing from what he did that was pure spectacular.
He couldn't
go out there
do any more than what he did on that 8. Really.
What I love is a lot of people would have seen Bronson in those conditions as probably not a favourite. Well, coming from Indonesia, they don't get that very often.
I made the bet, and then you messaged me at the start of the heat and went, "Oh, you're in trouble here." And I went, "Oh, I think I am." Just given that, for those that didn't see, it was 6 foot, windy, choppy,
shit,
just crap. And I was just going, "Oh, this is not Bronson's conditions." But bloody hell, he got close.
Back to what I was saying is to do what he did in conditions like that. That's really no easy feat.
No.
And it deserved a high score. And at the end of the day, an 8.67 is an excellent score. That means someone gave it a 9.
It's a big score.
So in my opinion, that it's kind of there.
Yeah.
I think that fell where it needed to fall. And it was just the backups in this stage. Now, a lot of people are saying Ryan's wave 7.5, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying it wasn't, but those two turns combined together were pretty astronomical.
They were big turns, for sure.
It's one of those waves where it was that was a big scoring wave.
Yeah.
without anyone even on it. It was clean.
Yeah.
There was so many joggly waves out there, and he managed to just find a needle in a haystack out there, and then to really capitalise on that and throw 2 huge turns. Kind of got to give it a 7.5.
Definitely. No. Like, I would have been okay with it being the score, just given how sort of adventurous he got on that wave. I think the size of the wave maybe hurt him a touch because it was a smaller wave that he did it on. I think that had it been a bigger wave, he definitely gets a score. But look, either way, just a note for all the kids out there: if you're in a heat and you have a little section in front of you, rather than kick out, just hit it, because you don't know if it's going to help you out at the end of the heat.
He was going for it. He just had that boggle.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I would probably be usually a little bit more critical of that call, but there was another call, Zach. And
there's one that just sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't it?
It does, and it leads me into my final disappointment of this event, and that, Zach, is the judges. Now, firstly, I got to go out here and say this is nothing against Yolanda Hopkins, okay? Now, I'm sure she's a lovely girl. I've never met her. And surfing's a sport. It's bloody hard enough to do, given just how unpredictable the ocean is and how many different variables are at play. So when you get a call like this, I think you just got to take it and run. There's nothing bad about Yolanda here. Like, this is just saying that she didn't give herself the score. She just was the beneficiary of the judges throwing her this number.
I feel like you're beating around the bush here a little.
Look, congrats to Yolanda, but my God.
Give it to us, Finley. You're edging with us.
My God, the judges got this one wrong.
They got it so wrong.
So we will put the clip in here, and we're going to pull up Zach's phone in a second.
I've only watched it once, and I was pretty busy at the time, so this is probably a good opportunity for us to go through it.
Yeah, so just a bit of context for everyone at home. Yolanda here, she needs an 8.2 on this wave. So look, it's an excellent ride. You're nearly getting to the end of the scale, really. Like, if you're getting an 8.2, you've done something very impressive. It's out of 10. So
on the male side, Bronson had to do a helicopter and 3 turns for an 8.67.
For sure. Now, I'm not going to bring other heats or other conditions or other bloody divisions or whatever into this matter. This is just purely me and you watching this wave, and we're going to go through it. And we've actually got the judging criteria here that this is the judges' Bible. This is what they score every wave by, or they're supposed to. So we've got there's 5. So I'll run through those quickly. So there's commitment and degree of difficulty. That is number 1 on their list of important things that you've got to do. Number 2, innovative and progressive maneuvers. Number 3, combination of major maneuvers. Number 4, variety of maneuvers. And the 5th and final, which we think maybe has been taken out of things, but speed, power, and flow is the 5th and final one. Now, we're going to watch this clip. We're going to play it, and we're going to pause it after each moment, and we're going to just assess based on these 5 criteria what happened. So,
all right, we're pressing play.
So we'll watch it.
Goes to the lead. Ellie Harrison would have needed a 7.17 on that last one.
Getting long here this afternoon. As we see, like Yolanda Hopkins, this is by far and away her best ride. Big driving carve all the way back to the foam. Little check carve there to get her through the inside as she squares it up. And a nice snap to finish.
All right. So, turn it down.
I have only just come to this. I've had an epiphany. Stace Galbraith, mate, you deserve a fucking Golden Globe for commentating that wave. And I will mention there is a slight silence in the last turn where Stace is doing really well to keep up. He's like, yeah, nice turn, nice turn. She does that turn at the end and he goes quiet.
Yeah.
Now, usually silence in those scenarios is not ideal. It means something has happened.
Read into that what you will. Now, let's go back through it. So, play it again. We're going to go...
I can't pause it, but...
No, you can. So, all right. So, she... we'll talk
Can
through
we just start? At the start, they're playing her reaction.
Yeah, she looks like a kid that's been given a puppy on Christmas, which she pretty well has been.
That tells me she was fucking baffled by it.
Even she believed, and she'll probably tell you otherwise, but I think even she knew that wasn't the score. So we'll go through it. So she kind of takes off. It's a
She jumps off it. Oh my God.
well, it's not necessarily a big wave for the day. I don't think it's just a pretty medium-sized wave. Now, first turn.
I can't watch.
So we resort back to the judging criteria. So she first turn takes off, does what is essentially a cutback. It's a
cutback.
She does put her back foot into it a little bit, but it's a cutback. So we've got commitment and degree of difficulty on that wave. Any commitment?
No.
Almost none. Difficulty. Can you do a cutback?
Me?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you on tour?
No.
No. Okay. Innovative and progressive maneuver.
Certainly not.
You learn that. That's the first move when you learn to surf. Pretty much you do a cutback and you're frothing for weeks. Now, let's go on to turn number 2. What was that? We call it another cutback.
It's almost a check.
There's a lesser cutback. So not much in that turn either. And then we just got to wait for this
the
thing.
last turn.
The last turn is the one that really grinds my gears.
For me, that was like what I was talking about previously about Sal, how sometimes, not all the time, she'll kind of shy away from an end section. Oh,
So, again, that'll have been playing. You be the judge of that. For me, I can see how they give this the score had she gone into the lip and actually come down into like a barreling end section. I can maybe justify that because you can see that it's hit at least some elements of the scale. She's committed and it's a difficult maneuver to do on an end section like that. It's not innovative, nor is it progressive, but it then plays into that combination of major maneuvers as well. Look, it's just none of these criteria are hit on that wave, which begs the question then, how can you throw this into the top tier of scores?
We could sit here and deliberate that question there. How could you throw this into a top tier of scores? But I can't even start.
No.
It's so left field. I was waiting for a 5.
It's so far off.
I'm going on record here.
Oh, no.
It's the most out of proportionate score I've seen in surfing history.
It's bad, man.
And the weird thing was, Finley, they posted it.
They had every
They
opportunity.
posted it on Instagram. Now, they don't always post an 8-point ride.
No.
They posted this one.
So, yeah, so this score comes in at an 8.33, which means that at least some of the judges gave this an 8.5. Maybe high. I don't know the breakdown.
It was cold that day. They could have been hypothermic.
I don't know what. Maybe that's how hot it was. Maybe it was 8 degrees. Maybe they wrote in the temperature.
And I'm not dissing Yolanda here.
No,
this could have been Ethan Ewing.
This isn't a Yolanda-based issue, Zach.
This is just what we see if you remove the titles.
Yeah.
Let's just remove the titles. Boy, girl, doesn't matter. Big, small, doesn't matter. Is that an 8.5?
Mate.
It's not.
Back to Liba. We did Liba on the weekend. That's not an 8.5 at Liba.
And that's not even an 8.5 lever. But it's just, Finley, I am bamboozled and I don't get bamboozled much. Sometimes when there's a bad score and you go, I just don't agree, but I'll move on with life. Yeah. This one, I feel like putting my stick in the sand and going, you know what, WSL, I'm not moving on past this. And the best part was, if you give me my phone back for 1 second, just to justify and to confirm our suspicions, let's go on to the comments, because surely 2 pathetic podcasters, you like that? We got called pathetic.
We got called pathetic because we're podcasting in our 20s. That's what he was referring to.
Right. Yeah. Sorry about that, mate. Okay. We will not stop.
Which maybe it's true.
Maybe, but we both have jobs, so he can suck a fat dick. So, first comment, I'm just going to rapid fire through this. No context, but in what world is that an 8.3? 400 likes, so 400 people agree.
At least.
Did y'all show the wrong wave?
Valid question.
Valid? Yeah. I am unsure.
I'm still not sure. Maybe they upload. Maybe it's the wrong wave.
Could be.
That's the only explanation for this.
No hate, but 8.3 on a scale of 20, right?
Was that from a girl as well?
That was a female.
I remember seeing that one.
So you can't call us sexist anymore.
No.
Not anymore. We never were. That one's in Spanish, but let's have a look anyway. I'd give that a 4.5 max. I'm so glad I hit translate.
Right.
What did the judges smoke to give that an 8.3? Big call, but that would have to be the most overscored wave of the season.
I don't think that's a big call. Look, I've been watching surfing for a long time. That is the worst example of overscoring I've ever seen in my life.
This is a good comment, and this is what I've been talking about since the cows fucking come home.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to do that for an 8.3, you guys are not increasing the girls' level.
For sure. And great point. That is why, again, this is not a Yolanda-based issue. This is a WSL judges-based issue. And that the judges had a moment there to essentially go, look, are we going to try and progress women's surfing? Or are we just going to, maybe 10 years ago you throw that an 8.5. But the level of these lady surfers now is so high, you can't, I don't know I actually am lost for words on this because it's just such a poor call from the judges. It's really bad. If you get Sierra Kerr or someone like her and Erin Brooks, you can't measure those two waves. Even if they half surf a wave, it's not comparable. You can't score them on the same scale if you're throwing that an 8.5 because every wave nearly if Erin Brooks gets to the end of her wave, you have to give it a 10.
Well, think about all the young girls sitting on the beach who are aspiring to be a pro surfer, and they are looking at these heats and going, what do I need to do to be a pro surfer?
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
No, it's
that is a fib.
Not it.
And another great comment, 8.3, question mark. Where is the degree of difficulty and commitment in these maneuvers? Well, that doesn't help female surfing. And it doesn't. It just stunts the growth.
For sure. And it's
okay to say that that's a 5. It's okay. No one would have come out and said, that's an 8.33. So I honestly think they've, on their iPad, hit the wrong numbers. And they've hit it, and she's got the score down a little fucking porpoise jump off the board, and they've gone, oh, fuck, what do we do here, boss? And they go, just run it, and hopefully no one looks. Then the intern at WSL's gone, I'm going to post that on Instagram, and now they're like, okay, wait.
It's like on those award shows, and they open the envelope, and it's the wrong person, and they're just like, oh no, what do we do here?
Yeah, I think that's what's happened. But Finley, it's great to know that there is 300 comments, and I did not see one person
that agreed
after
with it.
Just scrolling through that has agreed and actually defended. I don't want to say defended Yolanda here because it's not her fault.
It's not a Yolanda problem. It's nothing to do with her surfing. It's just the judges strayed away from their scale.
They've thrown her under the bus, essentially.
Because they have those 5 criteria that I read out before. That is the judges' Bible. That is what they live and breathe by.
Can't deviate.
Every score they put in has to go through each of those criteria. Whether or not they're consciously thinking of it or not, that is what is stipulated in the WSL rulebook, and that is what they have to abide by. You can't tell me any of those criteria are hit during that wave. The only one that really is it's a combination of maneuvers. It's not a combination of major maneuvers though, so it doesn't even really hit that one. Anyway,
yeah, we could definitely.
Yolanda, not your fault. Okay, you didn't score yourself there. They gave you the score, and credit to you. You've banked a really good result to begin the year. So,
what did you end up getting?
Like a 5th, I think.
Okay.
So these things happen sometimes, never to that degree, but. Sometimes you get lucky, and when you get lucky, you got to take that and run with it. So good on you, Yolanda.
I feel like the next we're still going to read all those comments in the next wave at the next event. It'll be like a -2 just to even it out or something.
Yeah, well, it's
going to have to be.
It's a shame. I feel sorry for her.
I genuinely do because, like we've just said, it's not her fault, but she's going to wear the brunt of that.
For sure. Yeah, she'd be getting messages for sure. So that sucks. Anyway, now that's sort of been sorted. Let's go through the rankings after event 1.
Yep.
Men's side of things. So this is 1st through 10th. We'll read Jacob Wilcox, Carly Vast, Maddie McGillivray, Ryan Callanan. 2 lads that just fell off tour, right back up the top where they belong. Xavier Huxtable in at 5th. Winter Vincent, little Smokey, who we may have missed in our initial picking of qualifiers for this year. He's very, very talented surfer. Pedersen Crescento, Dimitri Poulos, Mateus Hurdy, Morgan Siblick. That's your top 10.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. And guess what? 10 surfers, 5 of them are Aussies. So
Yeah. Although, let's be real, the first event was on home soil, so it's always an unconscious advantage.
It's skewed in our favour.
You go to the cafe and g'day mate, how are you? And it's not the and then you go to France and you want a coffee and a bacon and egg, and they get up at like 11 a.m. and you get a croissant and coffee.
Yeah.
Those little touches
For sure.
definitely matter.
Ladies, first place, Francisca Veselko. Well done to her. Second place, Sally Fitz. Third place, Tia Zabrowski. Fourth place, Teresa Bonvalot. Fifth place, Yolanda Hopkins.
Oh, God.
6th is Amuro Suzuki. And 7th is Sophie McCulloch. And that is, on the ladies' side, 7 people get through. So that's a good start to all of those ladies. We'll leave that. Trestles.
Can I throw one more in?
One more what?
Comment for the Challenger Series.
Go for it.
We need to... Sorry, get my phone. I've got my notes there somewhere. Can I resurrect it quickly? Finley's editing might be able to save me.
It's all right. I'll cut that out.
Before we move on to Trestles, we need to get Jorgen Huskiner a watch.
Kuzine,
whatever.
Kuzine, yeah.
He paddled in with 2 minutes to go, needing a score in pumping Merriweather conditions.
Yeah, that was heavy.
That was so hard to watch. I felt like going to the drawer and getting knives and putting them in my eyes. He's casually strolling in, just thinking, okay, I got knocked. That sucks. And his cheer squad, I'm assuming, were trying to send him back out. So he sat in the gutter for 1:30.
Throwing hand signals. He's going, what? Like, surely you'd go...
He's pointing to his watch going, I think it's done.
Yeah.
2 minutes to go, needs a score. I don't think it was an easy score, but it was an achievable score.
Yeah.
Above the 5 mark. In pumping conditions, though.
Yeah.
Sat there. This is the part that I was scratching my head. He was probably scratching his head too. It took him 1.5 minutes to make a decision.
And then like 30 seconds ago, I went, paddle back out.
Didn't paddle. Sprint paddled back out with 30 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Had all the urgency in the world, just a little too late.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if anyone can get Jorgen a watch sponsor, maybe Vestal or the new Rip Curl GPS one, so he actually knows where he is and what he's doing, because that was unfortunate.
That was heavy. That was a tough watch. Trestles. Waves were pumping. Very slow, but when they came, they're pretty high quality. So, made for a good day of surfing. Zach, for you and I and the rest of us here in Australia, probably the worst time slot to watch professional surfing.
I've actually been getting up pretty early in the morning.
Unless you get up really early.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
Yeah,
So
you're nocturnal.
starts at about midnight, runs all the way through the night. You might catch, if you get up at 7, you might catch the last sort of 5 or 6 heats.
I get up at 5.
Well, you're a maniac.
I am.
I
am the best, Finley.
The usual suspects brained it. So you had Philippe, Italo, Yago, Geordie, Griffin. They all won through their first round heats.
I think Italo is a standout there.
He's just insane, isn't he?
He is so fucking dangerous when he's having fun.
It just can't, like, he's got pretty much a baseline of like 15 points in these waves, I reckon. Like, you can't stop him from doing 2 backside full rows. So to beat him, you need to get 16 points. Like, he's going to do this every heat unless he has an absolute...
He was throwing out good scores.
Yeah, like, he just does it so easily. If you go and watch the replays from his heat, just throws a backhand air rev or even not even air rev, a full row as easy as most other guys are doing a floater or a snap. It's just insane.
He did a full Troy Brooks Superman.
He did. And
it wasn't a shitty Geordie Smith one. Sorry,
No.
Geordie. Where he just kind of lifts his feet off. He pulls extension, full arm extension on a big first section, and then comes and does a couple turns and a little spinner reverse. And then the hardest part of that wave was when he's fakie, he jumps, lets the board spin, and land. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What would you call that?
Like riding out fakie, or
Well, when he's backwards, he jumps up. It's like a little switch foot.
yeah, pop
So,
shove it type
Yeah,
thing.
it's like it looks like a shove it, but the board's only, just returning back to its normal way.
But even that's difficult. in
That's
itself.
fucking hard.
Yeah. To land,
That was the most impressive part of the heat.
to jump up and then land on your board as it's spun. Like, it's tough. So
That's very tough.
yeah. Ethan had a bit of a scare.
Oh, mate, I was cooking my eggs and I was pulling my hair out because I don't think Alejo's surfed that good in years.
How good's he? Like the last few events, he's found something similar, like your Pedersen from earlier. He's found something, and he's really putting in some big scores. El Salvador too. I remember he put up some big numbers. So good on him. But
Did you see the 7.7?
No.
I feel this is. Oh fuck! I feel
We're
sorry
not
for
going
him.
back to Yolanda here, man.
No. This is. I feel like if Ethan did the same, it would have been a 9.5. The reason I say that is Alejo did everything right on that. He's just not as polished as one surfer, for example, his component
Ethan.
in this. It was hard to give it the nod, just knowing that it could have been refined. It could have been like beautiful wine. He did 2 huge turns,
Just
back to back, come around the section, did a grab roll, like it was like a little bit grommy, but it was like a club sandwich kind of thing, not super inverted, but it was clean.
Yeah.
Comes out, does a couple more, I would say average, but good turns, average to good, and finishes strong. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, it could have gone either way. I was ready for Ethan to get knocked in that.
Right.
I wouldn't have been happy, and I wouldn't have supported the judges. I would have gone, oh, come on, like that's a bit inflated.
But as we've touched on, there's been worse calls.
There has been worse. But I was ready for it to really fuck my day up and go the other way. Mm-hmm. But I feel like they reined it in because there was moments of
disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few body parts kind of out of rhythm and whatnot.
Yeah, straight
if that
body
makes
parts.
sense.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do him a dirty
No,
here,
no,
but it's
actually,
just not polished surfing.
I wrote that down too. Although I missed that wave, I saw sort of start of the heat and then watched the sort of scores afterwards. And just my main note for this was class. Saw Ethan get through that heat, and it kind of was. It was just too classy.
It just looks like he's serving oil.
Yeah,
Ethan.
He's too good, man.
It's just so silky.
Yeah. Another person who looked good in the elimination round was Kanoa. He blitzed his heat too. So well done to those guys. They're all trucking through the event. Now, who didn't look spicy, unfortunately, was my man, the GOAT.
And who said last week that he wouldn't look good?
You did. But
thank you.
In saying this, it's just he smacked one after the heat, which obviously doesn't count, and he's not the first person to do it, nor will he be the last to get the score after the hooter. Did look really good on that way, but in his heat, you can just no one beats Father Time Zach, and not even the greatest surfer of all time is an exception to that. His days at the forefront of performance surfing have been and gone. They've passed him by.
I said it last week. Good things come, good things go. Yeah. Would love to see him wave like the Pope at that pipe win a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And just go, this has been great. Mm-hmm. And then that's the memory you're stuck with. But the memories we're being stuck with now are consistently shit results.
For sure.
And it doesn't take away from the GOAT status. It never will until someone replaces his accolades.
Definitely.
So that's fine. That's locked away, kept secret. But when you slowly seeing someone less and less, you're starting to only remember the last parts.
For sure. And wouldn't it have been nice to again, I love the bloke, so I want to see him surf as much as I can, but wouldn't it have been nice for him to just that win at Pipe where he was crying and going, this is the best win of my career, and just sail off into the sunset. And that's the last thing.
Put the coat on the coat rack, walk out, have a few beers.
Drop the
mic. Would have been great.
Yeah.
Finley, surfboard choice here. It looked like a skimboard.
It looked horrific.
You know what? I think, and we should probably do a full episode on this, I thought about today, but later down the track, EPS are amazing in some conditions, but in others, I just think they limit the amount of spray. And it looked like he wasn't throwing any real spray. I'm not saying he wasn't throwing spray. He clearly was.
Yeah.
And on his backhand on that left, he was kind of throwing a bit of tail.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It looked like it was knifing through the wave nice, but it just didn't look punctual. It didn't look explosive. It didn't have those big fans like Ethan or like Italo or
which is
Marco for this point.
And that is really the nature of epoxy surfboards, isn't it? They feel amazing. You step on one, you feel like you can do anything on it. You feel like indestructible. But
that's the dangerous part about it.
When you watch yourself back, you can really see where they lack in terms of, and one of the biggest factors there is obviously they're two different constructions, but just the weight of the surfboard. You don't have that push on an epoxy that you do on a PU. Like, you've got so much more momentum, even though it feels like you're going faster on an epoxy because you've got so much response out of them. On a PU, you just have so much more push, and you can really...
There's weight behind it.
Yeah, and you can dig into the wave. Like, the epoxies sort of, they're corky. They sit on top of the water a little bit more. PUs, they dig into the water, and they are much better for rail surfing, which is essentially all Kelly's doing these days. So he kind of refuses, given his brand and what he's pushing there. Like, he's obviously going to want to ride his surfboards. Like, it'd look pretty good, pretty bad for brand Slater Designs if Kelly rocks up on a 6.0 Channel Islands from the early 2000s, you know, or the 90s. Although I think he would have surfed a lot better had he ridden one. But yeah, look, it's a weird situation for him because he kind of has to ride these boards, but God, they're not doing him any favors in these waves.
What about strategy? He sat there for 20 minutes.
This is where, so that round one, obviously, shocker, sat for 20 minutes, didn't catch one. Elimination round. This is where I kind of were like, all right, bro, it's like it's passed you by. He only had small scores, and like he said it after the heat, he was nervous, and I kind of believe him. He looked like he was nervous when he was surfing. But the one thing Kelly's amazing at, above all else, is just his heat strategy. He's the guy. He's Mr. Bloody Mind Games, smartest surfer of all time. Mm-hmm. He had Barron in a situation where Kelly had like a 5.5 and a high 4. Barron had the highest score of the heat. He had a 5.67, but he didn't have much else. And it was so slow, this lineup. Like, there was not that many waves coming through, and there wasn't much time left. And Kelly was out the back. Barron had just caught a left or a small wave and did nothing on it. It was a throwaway score. Kelly had like 3 or so minutes left, or very limited time left in the heat. And all Kelly really had to do was sit there with priority, and he would have been able to ice Barron out of the heat. But instead, a set came, and Barron was on the inside paddling out, was no hope of catching it. And Kelly decided to go. He fell on it down the line. Barron gets out, gets priority, and little wave comes in, and he gets the mid-range score that he needed. So it was just things like that. And he was filthy at himself. He knew what he'd done when he came in. But yeah, just like that little sharper, like, competitive edge that he had is kind of left him. I think that's not a Kelly Slater play, if that makes sense.
That's not what we want to remember him as. No. So
Put him in at Pipe, put him in at Chopes, don't put him in at Trestles.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to go about it.
Saw this happening from a mile away. High performance wave for a 50-year-old. I love that he's still there. And for a 50-year-old, what we're talking about is just not even making sense for anyone else.
He did a backhand air reverse after the hooter. I just find me another 50-year-old who's doing. I'll give you one. There's no one. There's no other 50-year-olds doing backhand air reverses. So,
I still love him, but if I was his manager, I'd say, look, it's been a good run. Let's hang up the boots.
Yeah. And then basically we only got through halfway of the elimination round, so it hasn't been a heap of surfing. The other one was bloody Rio Wader. I don't know if you saw this, Zach.
I didn't.
It was just bad. Like, he was ripping. Got this wave. It was probably the best wave I saw come through the whole time. A couple really nice turns out the back. Was on his way to a 7+, maybe even higher. And just had this really nice end section. You can just see he kind of maybe overthought it for a second and maybe went a bit early into it and just hung the fins out the back a little bit too much. Kind of got left behind, and the wave went without him, and basically was the difference in him progressing through that heat, because Jiao got a wave at the end of the heat that he got the score on, and Rio didn't even have a chance to answer back. So that was a big meltdown. Probably, like, I don't think as big a meltdown as Kelly, because these things happen, I guess, for guys. You're going to fall off eventually. But Rio just could see, I think he thought it was like a big Indo lip, like a Karamis lip or something, and he was going to just be able to smack the back end out of it, and he went up just a touch early and just got left behind. It's not as obviously punchy, those Trestles end sections. So
I feel like he'll grill himself for that too.
He will rue.
He's going to meditate on that one for a long time,
stewing over it for like the next few weeks until the next event. And then in terms of the ladies, look, there's Lakey Peterson's hit her stride later in the year. She's gone like from Margie. She had a really good showing there, straight into here. Topped the heat total for round one. Gabby Bryan did really well too. And Your girl, Betty Lou, had a really,
She was ripping.
really good showing.
She was ripping.
Dropped a 8, I think. Excellent score.
Yep.
So, yeah, look, very impressive there. But look, that's really, guys, it's kind of all we got for you.
Did you change your fantasy after elimination?
Oh, yeah, you can't. So anyone out there who normally goes by the rule of changing surfers or like sort of assessing where the competition's at and changing their team, you actually can't apparently. So, which has done me really well because all my surfers are still active. I don't know about you.
Well, I'm just having a quick look now. Rio's out.
Oh,
But this is the one where I didn't choose it.
this is the Gabby.
This is Gabby's picks.
Right, okay.
For anyone who missed that episode prior to the Connor one, I let my partner pick my fantasy to prove that it's all bullshit and you can't pick surfing. So I'm happy she's proving my point right, although it's proving that I know nothing about sport.
Well, what did she pick? She picked Ethan as your power surfer, which is
Oh, that was touch and go today.
yeah, but he got a big heat total, so that's
it's still looking very healthy. So I'm excited to see how this goes. And if it beats you, that's going to make my day.
Yeah, you're not beating me. There's not. I won't. I actually can't. That's actually really embarrassing if that happens. I'm not allowing it to happen.
It's embarrassing for you. It's embarrassing for me. And then Gabby's going to walk out going, "Oh, cool. Didn't really do much, but anyway."
But yeah, guys, thank you. We'll leave it there. Hey, we'll cut it there. We've exhausted all surfing chat for this week. Well, there's actually a few. We thought this was going to be a short episode. Once again, we kind of
went OT
right on that hour mark, which has become pretty common for us, which is good. But yeah, thanks again for listening, guys. Once again, chuck us a follow at the Largo Podcast. Subscribe, like on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, all that jazz. But yeah, thanks again for listening, and make sure you're following us because this is going out in the next few weeks. So there's going to be that prize little pack is going to grow a lot. We're actually going to do some ordering after this. So you got to be in the running. And yeah, thanks again for listening. We will see you next week.
See you later. Ciao.